Vibe Tribe. I'm going to show you a bit about stringing a guitar today and tuning it as well, which is always necessary when you're tuning. But first let's start off with the old dad joke. Here's my tuner and here's my fork to eat it with, which you can double as a pitchfork if I have the right surface. So a couple of other tuners that you can use to tune your guitars. Here's the old favourite from about 50 years ago. You can plug your guitar in here, or it works off a microphone, 6-string and 12-string chromatic. It's pretty good. Chromatic means you can tune it to other notes besides the EADGBE. Here's the one that most people will have these days, similar sort of style that you just turn on to either guitar, or if you press the button you can get other types of instruments, baritone, violin, ukulele, cello, back to guitar, and it usually only tunes the strings in the normal guitar tuning, doesn't do chromatic, EADGBE. So if you don't have any of those sorts of things, you can always just play a note on the piano, or for example, just pick up your guitar that's out of tune. If you've got another guitar around somewhere, I'll show you what to do. Just play another string on another guitar, like that, and tune it up. Double check. Okay, so that's the sort of secret to tuning by ear. Notice that you can always tune the guitar by using the 5th fret, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Still isn't quite right, is it? No guitar tunes the same as another guitar because of the wood and everything else that's involved. So it's good to use your ear or the tuner attached. But what I'm going to show you is how to change strings. There's a lot of differences in changing different types of guitar strings. This bridge, for example, has got the little buttons under the end there, and the wrap around tuning heads. Some guitars, like a classical string guitar, you'll find a lot different. Some of them, the old style classical, wrap the strings around here. If you see, I'm just going to dismantle this one here. It's sort of put through a hole, wrapped around into a semi-knot, half knot, as you can see there, and that just slides out then. Got to be a fairly good knot so it doesn't slide out when you're playing, and it slides out. And the same with the end is just very similar to the other guitar tuning knob in a different direction. A good idea is to have one of these little whizzy-whiz things, a tuner, not a tuner, a string winder, and you can just wind those to take the string off like that. See? That's the way to do that. Now I'm going to demonstrate this on my trusty little baby Taylor here. And first of all, we'll talk about strings. What strings do we get for that guitar? Well, we don't get these ones. These are called nickel-plated Elixir polyweb. That's the electric strings. They go on electric guitars behind me here. The electric guitars sometimes have different ways of putting the strings in too. Like a Stratocaster, strings go in from the back, and the Telecaster would be very similar too. Strings in from the back, as you see. So, getting those string positions. Now the other thing that you need to do when you're looking at guitars is to make sure you get the ball end strings. Here's an example of ball end strings, if I can find my classical set here. Sometimes you get classical guitars with just plain ends like the one I showed you. It's better to get the ones with ball ends. It's got a little black end. Probably see it if that little black ball on the end there. That means it'll stay in without having to tie the little knot. Okay, that's good. Next little thing to show you is on one of these type of guitars. This is not a guitar, it's a bouzouki. And mandolins, they have what's called a loop end on them. I'll just quickly show you in case you're thinking of using it for a mandolin or a bouzouki. Little loop end which loops underneath the back of the bridge. So we've talked about classical. These are the standard acoustic guitar strings that I like to get. There are different brands, of course, at different prices and different qualities. This one being the one I like to play with the most, the Elixir, because they seem to be very bright and last quite a long time. So I'm going to change the second string on this guitar. The other thing you need to do is make sure you get the right guitar gauge. On if you're playing light gauge strings, usually not very good unless you're a very good guitarist on acoustic. A light gauge or extra light 10s to 47s. Recommend most of the time you go 11s to 52, and that's what these little babies like too, the 11s to 52. So I'll demonstrate how to take the string off. Still with me there? We go, make sure it doesn't go too high, otherwise your string will break. Wind it around like that, nice and quick. Because you need to put a couple of extra winds in up here just to give it some stability and tone. It does, I believe, give it better tone if it's at a better angle to the nut. Well, that's half the job done. The other half of the job, you can either use one of these devices to pull it out, but I would usually put a handkerchief so I don't scratch it. But some of these fancy string winders have got a little thing at the end here that just sticks in here and lifts up. Usually you have to take the first string off first. There we go. I'm choosing the second string to take off. That comes out. It's a good idea to keep your little knobs in order because they tend to take the shape of the string that you put them in after a long while. And so take the string out of the packet. It's always fun working out how to unwrap it. Eventually, if you do it often enough, it opens up. Just watch your eyes and get them caught. And with this type of string, you just put the thing in the hole there with the ball end. You see the ball end there? In the hole. And then, whereas you put the post back in there, you pull it up slightly so it's so you know it doesn't have any more to come. Give it a nice big pull. And then just casually, not too difficult, just casually poke it through the end up the top, the hole of the second machine head. It's like threading a needle, just I can never do. Okay, so it's gone through. As you can see, it's gone through. But what I like to do to make sure I've got enough end to wrap around, I like to give it about a hand distance, about a hand like that. Is that enough? It's probably enough. It could be a bit much. You can probably do a bit less and it's quicker. But just to make sure it doesn't, that's good, like that. Just to make sure it doesn't come out again, so that you put it in from the top. Give it a slight turn just to make sure you're happy that it's on. Not wrapped around the other machine head like I just had. And then once you've got it there, the secret is, as you can see with my hand, both hands whenever I'm holding it, is to keep that tight. Keep that tight so that when you get your string winder, don't put it too far away because it's hard to get back to. When you get your string winder going, it's just a matter of working out which way to wind. And then away you go. Make sure when you wind it, it might be a bit hard to see, but the string goes underneath the hole where you put the string in. That'll just keep it nice and neat and not too tangled. So here we go with that one. This might take a little while. I think I gave it a little bit too much, just a bit overexcited here. But as you can see, it's winding in. My fingers, my thumb on the other hand is getting lower and lower to the guitar, and it comes in and should be, if I'm holding it right, should be like that. Make sure that doesn't jump up like it just did. Give it another little wind up. And I'll stop this for a minute. And we'll see. You see that's now in. Don't turn it too high, just get out your tuner, whatever it might be, and just check that it's going to be a B string. The second string is a B. So just put it on and check that it's coming up to a B. Now it is a B at the moment, but is it the right B? It's got to be a B similar to that one, so we'll go up a bit. There we go. Pretty right. And lastly, but not, of course, just chop off the end because it makes it neater. Some people like to tie loops in them. I like to chop them off and recycle the metal. So that's all we got today for tuning a guitar. I hope that wet a few whistles, gave you some ideas and got you moving. Thank you very much.